Hey guys, welcome back. So what we're working on today is lesson 16, solving problems involving fractions. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So if we were in person together, we would take and do this working with partner. You'd alternate, you'd do A1, one would do A2, yada yada. We're going to do all of them together. So for A1, Lynn's bottle holds 3/4 cups of water. 3¼ cups of water. She drank 1 cup of water. What fraction of the water in the bottle did she drink? So what we need to take and figure out is the fraction we're going to use to take and solve this. So, sorry, not the fraction, the equation with the fraction. So we have 1 cup of water. That's how much she drank out of the total of 3¼ cups of water. So she drank 1 out of 3¼ cups of water, which, let me make this big, can be represented by this equation here. 1 divided by 3¼ cups equals x. So now what we're going to take and do is solve. We're going to find out how much she ended up drinking. So remember, same times flip. We need to convert first though. So 3¼ 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So we have 13/4, and this is 1 over 1 times 4 over 13. Because remember, we flip our fraction. Well, 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 13 is 13. So she drank 4/13 of the bottle. So of her water bottle. She drank 4/13. So all about same times flip. Going to be doing a lot of that in here, but not all. Okay. So Lynn's bottle, A2, Lynn's bottle holds 3¼ cups of water. After she drank some, there was 1½ cups of water in the bottle. How many cups did she drink? Now, in this problem, is this a multiplication or division equation? Are we multiplying or dividing to find our solution here? If we're taking, she had 3¼ cups of water, she drank some, and then there was 1½ cups left. Are we going to use division on that to find out how many cups she actually drank? No, we're not. In this case, we're actually dealing with subtraction. So this is just a subtraction problem. So we have 3¼ minus x equals 1½. Now remember, when we're taking and adding and subtracting, we have to have common denominators. So we have a 4 for denominator here. We have a 2 over here. We're going to make them both 4s. So we're also going to make them improper fractions because it's a little easier to work with. So remember, this is 13/4 minus x equals 3/2. Multiply the top and the bottom both by 2. So that way we end up with 4 for denominator. So we have 13/4 minus x equals 6/4. So now to move this 13/4 over to the other side, we're going to subtract the 13/4. This goes away over here because we're subtracting 13/4 from 13/4. So now we're left, I'm going to flip this around just so I have some more space. So now we're left with negative x equals, remember we had 6/4 minus 13/4. Now, if we take 6 minus 13, we are going to end up with a negative number. But it's going to be okay because our x is also negative. So this equals negative 7/4. Oops, sorry. So we put our negative 7/4 over here. Now, when we solve problems, we never want the variable to have a negative on it. So we're going to divide by -1 because anytime there's a negative on a variable, we can think about it as being a -1 in front of it if it's just the variable. So divide by -1, so we end up with x equals a positive 7/4. So that means she drank approximately 7/4 cups of water, which is 1 3/4 cups. So that's how much she drank out of her water bottle. All right, on to B1. So B1, plant A is 16 1/3 feet tall. This is 4/5 as tall as plant B. How tall is plant B? So first of all, what kind of problem are we dealing with here? Is there addition, subtraction, multiplication? Are we writing it as one number out of another number? So division. So this is multiplication. So our equation is 16/3 equals 4/5 times x, because it tells us plant A is 16/3. This is 4/5 as tall as plant B, which plant B is being represented by x here. So to solve this, we need to divide. So divide both sides by 4/5. So x equals, well, now we have 16/3 times, remember we flipped the fraction, so 5/4. Now remember, we can take and simplify this down before we multiply. We have the 4 here and 16 here, divide them both by 4. So now 4 times 5 is 20 over 3 times 1 is 3. So the other plant is 6 2/3 inches or 20/3, because this would be 6 2/3 inches or 20/3. So that's plant B. All right, for B2, plant A is 16/3 feet tall. Plant C is 4/5 as tall as plant A. How tall is plant C? So for this one, we have the 16/3, and we have that plant C is 4/5 as tall as it. So we are taking and multiplying these together. So 16/3 is the same thing as 5 1/3. So I'll convert that back. So 4/5 times 16/3. If we flip it, we're going to get 3 over 16. Once again, we can cancel. So divide the 4 by 4, divide the 16 by 4. So we end up, sorry, I wrote that really weird. So we end up with 4 down there and 1 up top. So 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 4 is 20. So we end up with 3. Wait, hang on. Oh, we're multiplying. Wow. Totally ignore that. I divided. So be super careful. We've been in the practice of taking and dividing with these things, and I just converted our multiplication equation into a division. So be super careful. Obviously, it happens to everybody. So 4/5 times 16/3. We're multiplying these. So 4 times 16 is going to give us 64 over 5 times 3 is 15. So we end up with 64 fifteenths, which is the same as 6 and 4 fifths. Or sorry, not 6. 4 and 4 fifteenths. So that is how tall plant C is 4 and 4 fifteenths inches. All right, the next one, C1. 8/9 kilogram of berries is put into a container that already has 7/3 kilogram of berries. How many kilograms are in this container? So for this, we have this many berries being added to this many berries. So are we multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting? We are adding. So 8/9 plus 7/3. So once again, when we add, we have to take and have common denominators. So here we have a 9, here we have a 3. So we need to change the 7/3 into terms of ninths. So that means we need to multiply both the top number and the bottom number by 3. So our denominator will be 9. So now we have 8/9 plus 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 3 is 9. So 8 plus 21 is going to give us 20. 8 plus 21 is going to give us 29 ninths. So there's 29 ninths, or 3, because 9 could go into 29 3 times, with 2 ninths left over. So that's how many berries, or kilograms of berries, are left in there. All right, for C2, a container with 8/9 gram of berries is 2/3 full. How many kilograms can the container hold? So we're looking at a division problem essentially. So we're going to take our 8/9 and we're going to divide it by 2/3 to find out how much it can actually hold. So 8/9 divided by 2/3 equals x. So same times flip. 8/9 times flip our 2/3. We end up with 3/2 equals x. Now, in this one, everything can cancel. So the 8 and the 2 will cancel. Divide them both by 2. The 9 and the 3 can cancel. Divide them both by 3. So 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. So we end up with 4/3 for our value of the kilograms that the container can hold. All right, D1. The area of a rectangle is 14.5 square centimeters and one side is 4.5 centimeters. How long is the other side? So if we're taking the entire area, which is length times width, or one side times another side, if we're taking the area and we need to divide it by its side length to find out the other side. So convert both of these to improper fractions. So 14 times 2 is 28, plus 1 is 29/2 times 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So our 9 is our denominator because remember we're flipping it. So we end up with 29/2 times 2/9. The 2's can cancel. They both become 1 because we divide them by 2. 29 times 1 is 29. 1 times 9 is 9. So we end up with 29/9 or 3 2/9. So just like we had up above, ironically. Except this time it's inches. All right, for D2. The side lengths of a rectangle are 4.5 centimeters and 2.5. 4.5 centimeters and 2 2/5 centimeters. What is the area of the rectangle? So if we're finding area and we're given the two sides, we're just multiplying. So if we convert these into improper fractions, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So we have 9/2 times 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12, 12/5. 9 times 12 is 108 over 2 times 10, or 2 times 5. Sorry. 2 times 5 is 10. So we end up with this. 10 can go in there. Oh, we can simplify this, but 10 can go in 10 times. So we end up with 10 and 4/5 for our solution because it'd be 8/10, which reduces to 4/5. All right. E. A stack of magazines is 4 2/5 inches high. The stack needs to fit into a box that is 2 1/8 inches high. How many inches too high is the stack? So for this, we are taking and subtracting. All we need to do is subtract. So we have 4 2/5 minus 2 1/8. We need to get a common denominator. I'm going to convert them to improper fractions first, though. So 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22/5 minus, sorry, no, that's really small. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17/8. So common denominator between 5 and 8 is going to be 40. So we multiply everything over here by 8. We multiply everything over here by 5. So 8 times 5, obviously 40. 22 times 8. Off the top of my head, I don't know it. 6, 31, 8 times 16, 176. And 17 times 5, 85. All right, so we end up with 176 minus 85, which is going to give us 176 minus 85. Remember when you're subtracting, if you need to, you borrow. So 70, 91. So we end up with 91/40, or 2 11/40. Too much. I know my work's kind of all over the place there. This is our solution.